Definitely. And we'll get to those super chats. I see them rolling in. Appreciate you guys. So the way I'm reading this right here, gang, and just to take a quick look at it, it's all base salary. 35.6 million in base salary. Somebody was asking how much of the guaranteed's left. The guarantee's pretty much gone. The dead cap attached is 8.3 million, and that's only in this this remaining guaranteed money on these next 3 years, 2 of which are voidable years, which will be accelerated the second that he's cut or traded from the Jets. So it would be one of those things where if you traded for him, you're on the hook for that base salary unless there's a renegotiation. But again, if you're going to trade for him, you've got to be ready and willing to take that money on if he's not willing to negotiate. You understand what I'm saying? So they'll definitely have to
be. Are interested in Jair Alexander at all?
Tim, there you go, man. That might be the answer, right? Seriously, you laughed about it, but
hey, I'm just
loud,
man.
The Jets. You go to the Jets. You call the Jets up and go, "Hey, man, how about a player swap here?" Player swap, and well, let me tell you, Jair Alexander. We've never seen him this healthy. We've never seen him this healthy. He's ready to go, and he's going to look good lined up across from Sauce Gardner. It's going to be great. So go ahead and pull the trigger. Amelia, what do you think about those numbers that we just showed, man, and explain? Because it's essentially what it's going to be. He's going to have to agree to a change. Now, here's the thing. If you traded for him, you could cut him, and you're not on the hook for any guaranteed money according to this because there is no the workout bonus $100,000, which that may be get redone. You get the restructure bonus of $2 million, and then $2 million and $2 million on voidable years. But again, that's on the Jets' books, not ours.
Right.
So,
I mean, that would be the question. If he's not willing to take a cut, you got to kick rocks. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not picking up 35 mil. It's just not happening. But
yeah, we got to pay Zach Tom.
Right, but we don't want. Yeah, and that's it. We don't want to get into the position where the Jets got in with Reddick, right, where they traded for him. Got the dude here, didn't have a contract squared away, and he just sat out for 2 months. That would infuriate me just as much. If we traded for the dude and he's out until week 8 trade deadline, then what are we doing? So I do think that's got to happen.
So Turtles with the line of the night, Tim. I seen you grinning like a possum over there. Tay should be set for life with that Taco Bell deal. Take the discounts. Those commercials, am I the only one that thinks those are cheesy as hell?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Every time I watch them, I cringe. I'm like,
cheesier than the tacos, for sure.
Definitely cheesier than the tacos.
Not as cheesy as those Cinnabon Delight Balls, though. Let me tell you, those things are just fire.
Oh, man. All right. Anything else?
Still didn't get the check. Still giving them the promo, though, right?
Oh, not yet. Not yet. We do have the image, though. That's what we're looking for.
Look at this guy.
Trying to get our hands on that.
It's like he's got that.
Emilio pulling up his Uber Eats order live on the stream.
Unbelievable. So let's just walk through Twitter real quick and some of the Tay Adams posts, that fans were throwing out. And even
because I know the chat's talking, they would rather have like some are saying T Higgins over Tay Wicks. I don't know, man. At that point, I would take the devil I know rather than the devil I don't. And it's not even calling Tay. I'm just saying, we've known Tay. We know what he's been about. He's been here. He knows what it is. He's played on the field, all of that stuff. We're going to bring a guy in from Cincy that, that doesn't have any kind of gel. I mean, Jordan Love's at least thrown a pass to Devontae before, right? I mean, that's let's start there.
And Devontae's played in a Matt LaFleur offense before.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting with the Higgins thing. T. Higgins is going to cost a lot more than Davante Adams. And on top of that, there's people that say, T. Higgins' numbers would be better if Jamar Chase wasn't on the team. Don't you think there's a chance, and I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate, don't you think there's a chance that T. Higgins' production goes down when he doesn't have someone on the roster taking coverage away?
That's
like
very
Jamar Chase does? That's the other side of that conversation, right?
Yeah, people tend to just focus on targets, and they're not focusing on the nuance away from that.
How he's getting those, how he's getting wide open, how he's getting single coverage, how there's no safety over his top, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, Aaron Rodgers, our Aaron Rodgers, not the Aaron Rodgers, tweeted this out. If the Packers bring back Adams, where is your confidence in this wide receiver room? Go Pack, go. Obviously showing Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Dontavion Wicks, and Davante Adams. The beautiful thing that I thought about, guys, and we need to get to those super chats. I'll get to those next. When you talk about Davante Adams coming in, these young receivers being able to pick his brain on route running and how to be a pro, boy, oh boy. We were just talking about veteran leadership, wasn't we?
Yep.
We were just talking about that.
And we were just talking about, I forgot who that was. Was that Wicks or Melton you were mentioning when we were talking about, the release to the stem of the route and, tightening things up? I mean, Tay's your guy right there. I mean,
and like Coach was saying, that pick of Wicks looks like a carbon copy of Tay. I mean, that's the truth.
Really
and that's, I mean, half of them say that they've watched him before. Half of them, base their game off of it. He's been doing it for, a long time. Why not, use that information that he has?
And for the kids watching at home, to refresh their memory, Devontae was that dude that everyone wanted to run out of town in his first and second year. He had drop issues.
Right.
There were a big portion of the fan base was tired of Devontae Adams, and we stuck with him, let him develop, and he became one of the best receivers in the NFL. So here we are talking about bringing him back for obvious reasons.
Tim, did you say drop issues? This team doesn't have that. We were only 32nd in drops, Tim. I mean, that's...
Yeah, and again, I just want to point out 65 signed off here. Mark Tauscher says time to bring Tay back to the G&G, so he's all on board.
Let's go.
If you could have heard him get excited on that, because I think it just kind of clicked with everybody today. Like, it's unlikely he comes back, but this is the first time we've got to the point where it's like hearing him say that on Up and Adams. It's like, this is a real possibility now. This is a real possibility.
And I'm sure McManus will give up his number. He'll give his number back to Tay. It'll be no problem.
Oh, yeah. You kidding me? Travis Stone with the super chat. Appreciate it, buddy. He says Jordan played so bad. Tom Clements pieced out.
Come on, man.
That's your opinion. We appreciate the super chat. Mike Hebring with the super chat. 17 calling Goot right now. Devontae Adams calling Goot right now. Hey, listen, I effed up. If you guys have ever seen, obviously, what is it? The Hangover, right?
Yeah.
Great movie, by the way. Don't watch
that infamous call from the Vegas suite. Yeah.
Yes. Listen, we effed up. So, Mike, thank you for the super chat, bub. Appreciate you. Let's see what else we got on Twitter. Let me pop this down and make sure there wasn't anything else we want.
Respect Orange just says let Tay Adams wear 12 for the laugh out louds. Oh boy.
So this was cool. Nick Corte on Twitter said, how would you say that, Emilio? Nick Court or Corte? What do you think?
I would say Corte.
Corte. All right. Little A at the end.
Yeah.
Most snaps entering unrestricted free agency. Minnesota Vikings, 45.4% of their snaps are leaving in unrestricted free agency, or at least hitting unrestricted free agency this year. 41.1% of the Washington Commanders are. 40.3% of the Miami Dolphins, 35.5% of the Chargers, 34.9% of the Jets, 32% of Dallas, Vegas at 30.4%, and Kansas City at 31.2%. Guess who has the fewest amount of snaps leaving in unrestricted free agency? That's your Green Bay Packers at 14.6%. So this core is intact. And what's crazy is the players that we talked about on our free agent list that are kind of set to leave in free agency or at least test the market. I think we got them right here. You don't look up at a bunch of these and go, yeah, got to get them back. What you're doing is you're opening up roster spots for that next draft class and one or two free agents, right? It's what it feels like. So the big thing here, Emilio, I know you missed out on this. We got the PFF grades listed here along with these players. Me and Tim were talking about it, and we feel real good about bringing back, like we talked about, of Eric Wilson and Isaiah McDuffie. I'd like to see him bring back Eric Wilson. I think he's a valuable part of the special teams. I know Tim agreed. Zane Anderson for the right price I'd be okay with. He showed flashes there at safety, and he's a good special teams player. 80.8 was his PFF grade. Bo Melton, obviously exclusive rights free agent. He'll be back for pennies on the dollar. Aaron Mosby, same thing. Daniel Whelan, same thing as exclusive rights free agent. Emmanuel Wilson, exclusive rights free agent at 82.9. There's a chance someone offers him a contract that we might not be willing to match. If that's the case, probably going to be second or a third rounder in return for him if that happens. But obviously we hope he does return. So anything you want to add to these free agents right here? Because I think it's cool, man. We, like I said, when you highlight this right here, that the fewest snap percentage in the entire National Football League that's entering the unrestricted free agency. It's pretty wild, man, how the Packers are built here.
Yeah, and I think go back to that other one. Yeah, I think looking at that, even if, Eric Wilson played all those snaps because Quay was out. He got a lot of reps in there, all that sort of thing. We weren't, exactly relying on him. Tyler Davis, all those kind of guys, they're heading on their way out. I think, like you said, with Emmanuel, if he does get picked up and we get that, the compensatory pick, we still have another third round running back and waiting, to get healed up, ready to roll this next year. So if that does kind of slip out from under us, we got a little bit of a backup plan there. I think that we still we're going to have to kind of, fill back in where we know we have issues, but I'm not mad at that at all. I think that the center is going to be our biggest one. I think Josh Myers right there is going to be kind of where we want to keep an eye on. Are they going to be wanting to bring him back, or are we, be ready to move on sort of thing? So I think that's where we're chasing it in the draft and stuff like that.
Travis Stone with another super chat says donation to get you glasses. Travis Stone. I'm going to keep saying Travis Stone as long as you keep throwing in a donation for the glasses.
Oh, I didn't even see.
Appreciate the super chat.
Spelled donation wrong, by the way.
Didn't even say the last name right. I don't even know how you'd say it.
He did. How you gonna make fun of people for saying the wrong name and you put Dontation? Swing and a miss.
Go figure.
Hey, par for the course, man. Par for the course. Appreciate the super chat though, Bub. There we go. You guys rock. Ever have Andy Herman on? We've had Andy on once when we first launched. Andy's a busy guy. He ain't got time for a show that sucks like this, but he's always welcome to hop on with us. But again, thanks for the super chat. This could be actually Travis Stone could be Andy's burner. You think?
Ooh, now we're talking.
All right, so let's talk. Tim, you got anything to add to these free agents here that obviously the Packers have got that are set to test free agency and obviously the exclusive rights? I've got a list of some of the top free agents at defensive tackle I wanted to kind of dive into.
No, let's move forward. I think we covered these pretty good this morning.
Good deal. So I spent a little time earlier kind of combing through. Understand these are in the order of their average annual value, okay? And I wish there was something I could do to zoom this in further. As you can see, it's going to be darn near impossible. So hopefully you guys can read it well enough. I want to make sure we got them all in here. So at the top of the list, B.J. Hill, his average annual value going into this year was $10 million per. That doesn't mean he's going to get $10 million. Doesn't mean he won't get more, right? But his PFF grade 70.2. Next was DJ Jones at a $10 million clip. 64.1 was his PFF grade. Sebastian Joseph Day 70.3, $4 million a clip there. You've got Javon Kinlaw at 53.4, Greg Gaines 56.0, Austin Johnson 56.1, Mike Hoek, I think is how you say his name, 61.
Who?
Exactly, Snoop. John Jenkins 53.1, Jerry Tillery 50.2, Loki Fotu. Hit me with it again, Tim, just one more time. Loki Fotu.
Who?
That's right. 36.3. Hit him with the who again.
Who?
Exactly. Limball Joseph, 54.1. Kevin Givens, 49.6. Jonathan Hankins, 35.9. Levi Ozo, I think you've got this one.
Who?
Ozurike.
Yeah, you help.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
69.4. He played for Detroit. You've got Taven, I think it is. It's so small here. Taven Bryan, 58.1. Derek Inato at 35.8. Jeremiah Ledbetter at 63.0. Maurice Hurst at 45.3. Adam Butler, 56.9. Benito Jones, 51.3. Daniel
Kool-Aid.
There you go. Kool-Aid, 60.
Who?
Then you got Khalil Davis, 47.3, and then Milton Williams at a 70.
Who was just in our backfield all game last week.
All game long.
So
what's crazy is I put up the NFL Pro on him, and he didn't have like a crazy year because he didn't play a whole lot of snaps. But I will mention this. His pressure rate, Milton Williams, 12.5% this year. Now, keep in mind, Kenny Clark was 6%. He got twice as many pressures on the quarterback than Kenny Clark did, who's one of the highest paid. I think he was the highest paid interior defensive lineman in all of pro football this past year, according to Cap Hit. So I wanted to show that and get your all's take because really you've got just a handful of guys that you go, hey, yeah, that might be worth bringing in. But I don't know how you guys feel. We always talk about you never overpay for good. You only overpay for great. There's none of these guys that are great, right?
Yeah. To the draft we go.
You know what I'm saying? Emilio,
draft we go. Let me see real quick. What is my boy TJ's at a 43, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, compared to where he's at age-wise and some of these numbers, you're not getting him from the Lions. You're not getting him from Philly. Tennessee dude's pushing 30. Bengals dude's pushing 30, and both of those are pushing 5-10 million. I'm really not messing with any of that, honestly. I would, like you said, we're going draft, or I'm bringing back TJ to set a floor, and we'll work from there. I'm not completely mad at how he played. I think he really did have some good. I think he's grown a lot. We kept around Ford for a long time, right? How'd that play out? It didn't work. I mean, TJ's gotten on the field. I think we gotta, kind of look at that and go from there.
I agree. Oh yeah.
Well, there we go.
Hold on. This is hilarious. Carlos Baldwin says, "Fire LaFleur, fire Love, simple. I don't care what nobody say. If you say different, you're delusional." And then Prince came in and said, "Carlos is the youngest, worst acting of the Baldwin brothers."
Oh, I love it.
Man.
Needed some comic relief, right?
Yeah, Carlos.
Who do we hire after we fire Matt? Who's QB1?
Tim, don't do this.
Wait. We found. Never mind. We found AFAM's burner. This is AFAM's burner. We know it. We know it. AFAM says fire LaFleur, hire AFAM, and Malik Willis QB1. That's what AFAM would say.
AFAM will hire AFAM.
Yeah,
Uncle Eric says Carlos is on the pipe.
Fires Matt LaFleur were like this.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
That's what we're going to be chasing.
Fire this guy. Are you kidding me?
That Baldwin brother comment broke me up, man. I'm just telling you right now. I was thinking, my first thought was, there's another one? You know what I mean? Like, how many of them are there? So, anyway, you've got, like I said, the only two that sticks out to me here, guys, is say it again from Detroit, Emilio.
Ozarike
at a 69.4. He's 26 years old. His average annual has been about $2 million. He's probably going to want more than that on the market, I'm sure. And Milton Williams, 25 years old for Philly at 1.2. And Philly is loaded at defensive line. So if there's a team that might go, we're good, let him walk, don't overpay him. But again, I don't want to overpay him. If you can get one of those two guys there at a decent price, I'm on board. Now, when it comes to run stops, TJ Slayton had more run stops than Milton Williams did. But TJ Slayton's pressure percentage was at 8%. Milton Williams was at 12%. So essentially what you got is TJ Slayton or Milton Williams. TJ Slayton, better run defender. Milton Williams, better pass rusher. That's what you're weighing out there, right? So just feels like the draft was. I don't think we're going to be able to bail ourselves out in free agency this year, unless you have cap casualties before the deadline, right, as you approach the new league year, or somebody unexpectedly gets put on the trade market. And this goes back to what Michael Lombardi always talks about, Emilio, and we've talked about it time and time again. Everybody thinks they've got a 3-tech, and very few teams have a 3-tech. There's a reason the market is so thin for a dominant defensive tackle, because they're that valuable.
And if you got them, you're going to hang on to them, right? I mean, and if you're about to have one, look at the Lions, look at the Eagles. If you have one on the verge, you're going to sign them. You're not going to let them walk. So that's where I'm hoping. I mean, where would you be happy with TJ if we were to sign him back? Say we get him at a decent price wherever he was at. I'm not. What was that number at?
TJ Slayton.
Yeah, TJ was at roughly $1 million.
That's what his average annual has been up to this point.
Okay, so say we get him back for 2.5. Where would you want him as a rough PFF? As a rough, if you were expecting him to come back, set the floor, where do you want him to be?
I think you got to try to get up around 60, right?
Yeah. So 10 points. Do you think that he can get that? Are we getting that? It's got to be out of pass rush, right? If he's,
I got to be honest with you. We watched the tape all year long.
Yeah,
I don't think that PFF grade is accurate, and that's why it's important. Like PFF, show us what you grade on each individual play, but they won't do that. I swear, I think somebody was eating Cheetos that night and had one or two too many Pabst Blue Ribbons and said, that's close enough. Give him a 40.
So then you're looking at it as the Packers are on their own analytics staff. Hey, where do we actually have TJ? Say the Packers staff has him at a 63 already on their grading scale, whatever. I mean, why would we move from him?
Can you pull that? How old is TJ? Is he 26? What is
right here?
Do we have that up there?
He's young, right?
27 too.
27.
Okay, 27. Okay, so he'll be 28 next season, right?
Right.
So,
but Tim, are we going to gain that much? The youngest dude on the other one was 25.6, 20.
and that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
like bringing in some Linval Joseph type dude or some veteran kind of guy, that's not going to help us. I think the answer is you got to go to the draft. You got to try and hit on something in the draft. Put them behind TJ on that depth chart, and hope to God he's a blue chip.
Or is Carl Brooks going to step up? Is Carl Brooks going to put on another 10 pounds of muscle and be that interior, 3-tech that's going to just terrorize? I don't know. I mean, but if we have him on the team, I'd rather work with what we have on the team instead of, going around trying to pay for everybody and chase them down.
Here's the other aspect too. We carried 5 on the active roster most of the year, right? 5 defensive tackles. So you got returning Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, you've got Carl Brooks, you got Kobe Wooden. Those 4 are all returning. So if you bring back TJ Slayton, you don't have a roster spot for a defensive tackle.
Right, that's true.
So it's almost like you're probably going to part ways because you can't get rid of Kenny. We've talked about that. You can't do it.
Not going to happen.
Possible.
And you're not getting rid of Carl Brooks.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to get rid of Kobe Wooden. I think they think Kobe Wooden's got some.
They like him. They like him a lot.
And I think they got a lot invested into Devontae Wyatt. I don't think he's going anywhere.
The only other workaround I could see, and here's the thing: Devontae Wyatt finished with a 66, guys.
Yeah,
that's real close to where those guys are on that list we just talked about. Right? So you don't want to take snaps away from him because he might turn into the player you thought you were getting when you drafted. That doesn't mean you don't go out and try to find the next great 3-tech. It's that important. But it's just, I love the way we're kind of weighing all those options out. It's interesting now. Kobe Wooden, another option could potentially be, hey, we're going to try to put him on the practice squad. If you do want to bring TJ Slayton back, whichever one of those two don't live up to the hype, put them on the practice squad because you have 6 spots, Emilio, that you have veterans that you can put on the practice squad now.
I believe so. Yep.
Now,
16.
Now, other teams can sign them, right? But how many teams are going to line up?
And we carried Ford, and he's gone, right? He got picked up by the Bears, and it's over. So it's
great point.
That can happen.
That's the thing. The old, like we said, right? The old stash them on the practice squad is kind of not really an option, right? Because those guys can get poached from you,
right?
That's right. Let's look at the draft real quick. You want to?
Let's do it.
We kind of look at the free agents. Here are the top defensive lineman prospects. All right, coming into this year's draft. Now, understand 1 or 2 of these may not enter the draft. There may be a couple that aren't on this list that will pop up in the draft, right? But starting off, I'm going to list off when I give a number, that's their overall ranking. Okay, we're obviously going in the order of defensive tackle, but we're going to tell you where they're at on PFF's overall ranking of their big board. All right, number 4, Mason Graham from Michigan. PFF grades the last 3 years, 90.9, 90, and 80.3. Just dominant. Number 19, also Michigan, Kenneth Grant. PFF grades 82.7, 80.4, and 72.7. Tyleik Williams from Ohio State. PFF grades, he's 25th, by the way. PFF grades 79.6, 77.6, and 80.9. At 33, TJ Sanders. PFF grades 82, 72, 57. Number 34, Walter Nolan from Ole Miss, 88.3. 88, 72, and 68. So he had a great year this year. Those grades right there kind of feel like Edgerrin Cooper, where he just blew up this year, right? And it's okay. Do you want more consistency when you're trying to decide, is that our dude? That's the big question. Omar Norman Lott from the University of Tennessee. Overall ranking is 50th. PFF grades 69, 71, and 59. Number 65, Alfred Collins. PFF grade 80. He's from Texas, by the way. 87, 79, 68. He's improved every single year. That's a prospect that looks like he would be really interesting. 6'5".
What I like looking at too, Clay, is those snaps. I mean, dude's pushing 600 versus Tennessee guy 220 each. Then the one above him from Ole Miss, almost 600, 587. I want to see you be getting reps. I want to see you out there, a lot of burn.
Definitely. Thank you for pointing that out too, man. Deion Walker from Kentucky, 73rd overall. Guys, he was projected to be the top defensive tackle going into this year, and he's dropped significantly. You want to ask me why?
Why?
Kentucky's defense was hot trash this year. It was horrible. It was absolutely.
That's a big boy, though.
He's huge,
345.
And he is so agile for a big guy too, man.
Yeah.
PFF grades 72, 80, and 74. So you're kind of seeing a floor of 72. Unfortunately, that was this year. That ceiling of 80 at the college level.
Could be a mid-round steal.
Yeah. Young.
Look at the age.
6'6". Right? Yeah, 20.8, not even 20, maybe 21 by the draft.
Yep.
6'6", almost 350. I mean, he's probably closer to like 335, but that's something that you would want inside. I mean, we need him to take up space. We want him to be explosive. I think you can get that out of that.
Yeah, definitely. Derek Harmon is 83rd overall with the Oregon Ducks. 83, 78, 59. That's a guy who's gotten better every single year and got the most snaps he's gotten out of his college career this year at 591. 104, Darrell Jackson Jr. He's with the Florida State Seminoles. 70, 63, and 72. J.J. Peegs with Ole Miss ranked 106, 73, 66, 71. Simeon Barrow Jr., 116th out of Miami. His PFF grades 79, 72, and 75. So just wanted to show a couple of those guys, a few of them. We really showed the defensive tackles in the top 100, right? If let's say the draft fell perfectly in place based off of their rankings. We know it won't. Quarterbacks will be valued more. Teams will have lower grades on some of these guys. They'll have higher grades on others. But let's say it did fall in that place. We're picking 23rd. Theoretically speaking, in our wheelhouse, if Kenneth Grant doesn't fall, listen, Mason Graham's going to be long gone. That's the dude I think is going to dominate this year defensive line. You're looking at Tyleik Williams, 25th out of Ohio State, TJ Sanders.
Especially once they lose to Notre Dame, maybe Mr. Williams' stock will plummet a little bit. We'll get him.
Tyleik is nice on college football. They got him like
Amelia.
He is tearing it up, man, on Ultimate Team. I'm just saying.
I love it. So, yeah, Tyleik Williams at Ohio State at 25, TJ Sanders at 33 out of South Carolina, Walter Nolan at 34 out of Ole Miss, and Omar Norman Lott, 50th out of Tennessee. And just go ahead and throw Alfred Collins and Deion Walker in there since they were kind of, the combine's going to shuffle these things around too, right?
Yeah.
We know that. So those are just the names
showing up, all that stuff. I'm excited for that to kind of roll in.
Now, here's the thing. College is much different than the pros. We know that. Edgerrin Cooper's PFF grades transferred right over. Puka Nacua a couple years ago transferred right over, right? So it's possible. So based off of the free agent list we just showed you in their current PFF grades for 2024, you look at some of these PFF grades and go, man, Tyleik Williams, 79, 77, 80. If that transfers, he's your best defensive tackle on your team.
Right.
82, 72, and 57 for TJ Sanders. If he's somewhere between 70 and 80, he's your best defensive tackle, right? Walter Nolan, 88.3 this year. That's the dude that's really, really piqued my interest, is Walter Nolan. And listen, stylistically, there's going to be some stuff coming to play. Are they a one tech? Are they more of a three tech? What tools do they already have in the bag? All those things are going to come into play. But I just think it's really interesting, man. The whole reason we did this exercise for the morning show and how we've wrapped it up here this evening is what we've determined is defensive tackle and free agency. There's no Christian Wilkins this year, right? Just he's not there. So that's kind of what we're looking at. It's looking like it's probably going to be the draft or a trade unless someone gets cut before free agency.
This should probably be the formula going forward too, right? Like when we look at position groups of need, let's look at free agency and then go to the draft,
That's what we're going to be doing all offseason, man. I'm excited about it. We'll just continue to dive into these. Next up will probably honestly be either center or cornerback. Probably cornerback. We'll kind of dive into some of the cornerbacks and see, okay, how's everything looking? I may not take that. It took a long time for me to create that image with the grades on it, so I probably won't have the time to do that. But we'll pull them up and kind of cross compare grades to who's going to be available according to Spot Track. So, Amelia, what are you thinking? Anything else at the forefront of your mind here when we're talking D tackle, man? Or are we? Do you think we're on the right track? It's going to happen to the draft.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, after kind of looking at it, TJ, where we're at with the guys already on the team, I honestly think they're going to be expecting more. Who's already out there and played for us than where we're going for the draft. But if we do, we're definitely going to be using that phone, Tim. Let me tell you what.
Wait, you said sorry guys, I checked. Gilbert Brown's not available.
Oh. I was looking to trade up to get him, Tim.
All right, let's do this. Let's look at the free agency rankings real quick, and then we'll get out of here. We're at the 117 mark. We've already talked about defensive tackle specifically. Let's look at free agency as a whole according to PFF. Again, this isn't everything. This is how PFF ranks them. You're going to notice some players are grading out lower that are ranked higher. That makes no sense to me, but that's PFF for you. That's how they do things sometimes, right? So here we go. Number 1, T. Higgins at the top of the list. His projected contract is going to be 4-year, $28 million per. That doesn't mean that's what it's going to be. That's just their guesstimate. We've seen this last year. There was a lot of players with that projection that went much higher, right? And we did find through cross-checking and analyzing these numbers, they're getting the numbers from Spot Track, I'm pretty sure, is where they're getting these projections from. Number 2 is a guard, 25 years old, Trey Smith, played for Kansas City this year. So obviously he's still playing. He's set to be a free agent. 4 years, $20 million per as a guard. All right. His PFF grade 78 this year. Javon Holland, safety, 24 years old. I think we would all agree we don't need a safety, right? We're pretty good there. Chris Godwin, wide receiver, 28 years old, 86 before he demolished his leg this year. That's going to come into play right there, obviously. He may not even be ready, to be honest with you. I was trying to see if they mentioned it. Didn't mention it. Khalil Mack is set to be a free agent. That dude's 112 years old, but his PFF grade this year, 90.
Dude,
last year, he's still playing, bro.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, I'd be okay on a 1 year. I would, I just
talk
don't
about
know
those names and those type of dudes that might push you over the hump. I mean,
dude, he's played lights out. He's been so dang good. DJ Reed, cornerback, 28 years old. He's, I guess, obviously the top corner in free agency. 3 years, $16 million per is what the number is on him. If you maybe want to try to fill in the cornerback room with a free agent, if indeed Jair does walk, right?
I always like
noticing. What's that?
I always like the way he played.
Yeah,
I think he's number 3 on the Jets. Yeah, he's a thumper.
Yeah, definitely. Amari Cooper, 30 years old, wide receiver. Ronnie Stanley, tackle. He's 30 years old now out of Notre Dame. He's obviously on the backside of his career. Sam Darnold, they've got him projected, guys. 3 years, $41 million per. You think Minnesota going to pay him $41 million per after he crapped the bed? I just don't see it, man.
Look at that WAR, 2.83 in WAR. I mean, he's bringing in points for the team, man. But yeah, that's a tough look.
It is,
especially with the previous year at 130 snaps with a 66 flat. Like
one of these don't belong.
Yeah, right.
Let's see, Josh Sweat, an edge defender, 27 years old, played with Philly. 73.2 was his PFF grade this year. They're saying he's going to get $18 million per. Stephon Diggs, wide receiver. Let's keep it moving. Seriously, everywhere he goes, his teammates end up beating him, don't
they? They bring Stephon Diggs in, you can guarantee Ja's gone.
this Hassan Reddick situation that the Jets traded for him, right, from Philly, I believe.
Yes.
And then he held out most of the year.
That's what I'm saying. If Tate does that, I would spiral if that happened when we did. You know what I mean? Like if we tried to trade for Tate and he holds out like that.
Yeah. There's no way Goody pulls the trigger on the trade without a deal, right? Yeah. And I think they learned their lesson. But and then when he did get on the field for 392 snaps, he was hot garbage, 50.5. That's hilarious. Charvarius Ward, 28 years old. Played for San Fran. They're saying $14 million per at 3 years. He had a bad year this year. Yeah. One of those don't belong there. You got to be realistic about that, right?
I look at Ward was a name that popped up kind of right away when we started thinking about cornerback, and he's one of those guys too, where like we talked about Josh Jacobs with that down year. Like which one are we going to get? And he might be a guy you take a swing at. I think if you're talking about corner, because 2024 stats could be an anomaly. We know the dumpster fire that was that 49er locker room and the type of year that they had. I don't think it's a full indictment on him as a player. Maybe a change of scenery might help. But somebody to look at.
In this Hafley defense, man, he'll step right into that easy, right? So, again, PFF grade starting in 22 coming forward, 81, 84, and then this year he was a 56. Like I said, I'd say
look at the snap count.
Yeah, exactly. 694.
I mean,
Yeah.
well, yeah, previous to this year, consistent with almost 1,200 snaps each year. That's what you want to see, dude. That's out there all the time. And at some point, San Fran's going to have to start getting rid of some of their players.
Got to. You're right.
Yep.
DeAndre Hopkins, 78.
Nope.
All right, moving along. Rasul Douglas, guys, look at this.
Nope. No.
Here's a guy.
71 in 2022. Last year, 81. And then this year, 58. So has he hit the wall? He's 29 years old, right? Could have hit the wall. So they're saying he could warrant 2 years, 13 million with 15 million guarantees. So essentially a 1 year deal is what that is, even though it's listed as a 2. Malcolm Kuntz, edge defender, 26 years old. He lit it up this year for the Raiders. Holy cow.
Last year.
Yeah, you're right. So he was out all year, I guess. Is that what happened?
Suffered season-ending knee injury before 2024.
There you go. So, yeah, an 81 before he had that injury.
So off of an injury, bringing in an edge defender off of a knee that we already brought Rashawn in back, from a knee injury. It's
me no like you that, Jan. Cam Robinson, nah, not really. 29 years old. They're saying he's going to get 18 million per, and his PFF grades have been 67, 65, and 63. Nah, no thank you. Dre Greenlaw.
Here's a guy.
Hey.
Keep him on the field. Don't have him run onto it.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. You know what that kind of feels like there, guys? That kind of feels like, and he's a little bit younger too, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
That might be the Bobby Wagner of this coming, right?
And you don't go 1 year. You go like 3 year, which is really a 2 year kind of.
They're saying 6 million, 1 year, 6 million because of the injury, right? Like he's got to prove himself.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. So,
yeah.
All right. And look at our boy Justin Fields, by the way. Look at these PFF grades 70, 74, and 71.
That is consistency to a T right there.
It is. He's still an ugly guy, but yeah. Aaron Jones, Tim.
Hey, Ron.
Tim, would you bring Aaron Jones back for 2 years, 7 million per?
Guys, stop.
Just Tim, come on, Tim.
Would I? Because that's my boy. Yeah, of course, only for personal reasons. But looking at that running back room, where does he get carries? Where does that? How does that work out?
Look at the PFF grade too, Tim. 86. This is going backwards from 2022 coming forward, I should say. 86, then dropped down to an 80.9, and this year dropped down to a 75.4.
So Goody kept the formula, right? Get out a year too soon rather than a year late.
They used him too. 750 runs. I mean,
that was tough to watch last night, man. He was getting abused out there.
Did you see that one where
a leak to the flat and there's 5 defenders in your face with no blocker?
Did you see the cut route he caught, got popped, and then he set up? The look in his eye was like, why am I still out here? What am I doing?
I know. If anything, you're thinking how much football's left in that battered body of Aaron Jones. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, we could do this all night. We'll go ahead and knock this off. I did want to look at center real quick, and I know we were coming up on our first one there. I'm going to try to sort it, and I want to just take a quick look, and we'll get out of here. I know we're a little bit over. Centers, looks like there's only one that made their list, and again, this is somewhat of a limited list right now. Drew Dahlman, who was with the Atlanta Falcons, he's 26 years old, all right? The projection is 4 years, 11.5 million per. His PFF grades in 2022 was a 65. It increased to 82 in 2023, and then slightly dropped to 78 in 2024. But he's graded out as a top 5 center, top 3 center, really, the last 2 years, right at the borderline of it. Mm-hmm. That's the type of free agency as we're looking, right? Not a whole lot of D tackles. That's one that would make some sense. Right?
Look at that age too, sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And on the little old enough to know better, young enough to still enjoy it. Yeah.
Right. And on the little paragraph, Dahlman has room to grow as a pass protector, but is one of the best run blocking centers in the NFL, and will advance and continued growth of the interior O-line market.
Yeah. He heard run block and Tim say, get the checkbook out, Goody. Let's go get us a center here.
Let's go. Let's go.
Anyway, there's just a little sample, a little taste of what we're looking at in terms of available free agents, draft prospects. Hopefully we got a really good idea of, all right, here's how defensive tackle looks. I say tomorrow maybe we'll deep dive.
Yeah, boy,
we've definitely. Emilio, I didn't know. So wait, is Eric Sutherland a real person? Because
Eric is my burner.
This is your burner.
Glover is our future center.
Hopefully, because he sure can't play guard.
He could play tackle, maybe. We'll see.
Emilio, I felt so bad for you watching Glover out there, man.
Dude, he was all right for a minute there, and then we just leave him out there to dry. I mean,
he was all right there, and then they blew the whistle and they ran a play.
Right. And I mean, we're at
that minute on the sideline when he put his helmet on and said, "Okay, I'll go in." Yeah, he looked real good.
Next time we're taping his fingers together, so he's only got 2 claws to grab people, and then we can kind of go from there.
Rock lobster up in here. I like.
No, hey, I'm really not mad at the way he popped in there and played, to be honest. But yeah, then you probably get away to some of your running game too. If you're at, because we, like Matt was saying, we ran a lot of guard pulling this year instead of as many sifts and all that stuff. If we have a lot of guard pull lead plays in the game plan, and you bring in a rookie that's had 5 snaps all year basically, and asking him to pull around Josh Myers and that defensive line getting pushed, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and that's fair. Like we're joking and giving him a hard time, but like I think he played about as well as a rookie could play against one of the best defensive lines in the league. Short notice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough ask. There's no doubt about it. Last call, Fractal of God. Still have not heard from him. I have heard from Mark Zambito. So Mark Zambito is, if I don't hear from Fractal of God by midnight tonight on Patreon or any other platform, then the autographed picture of Carl Brooks blocking the field goal there, the game-winning block, is going to go to Mark Zambito. So again, Fractal of God, if you hear this, shoot me a text message, 865-658-5824, or message me in the Patreon group as soon as you can. Okay, we're going to give it to Mark Zambito if we don't hear from you. So, anything else, guys? Anything else?
Did we get final results on our YouTube poll?
Oh, let's check it out. I'm glad you said that, Tim. Thank you for reminding me. So here was the question: who do you want to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl? What we're doing here, guys, we're picking our PTA playoff teams. Is what we're doing. All right. So here are the choices.
Playoffs.
Washington Commanders, the Detroit Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles, or the Los Angeles Rams. Winning the poll here with 102 votes, Washington Commanders at 37%. The LA Rams were at 32%. Then you had the Detroit Lions at 16%. Everybody's still pissed off.
I want names and addresses of everyone who voted for Detroit now.
It's everybody still pissed off that the Eagles smacked us in the mouth, Tim. That's what
found one, Tim. I found one. There he is.
Greg Rice. How dare you? How dare you?
All right, so again, guys,
advice for y'all: take 2 weeks off, then quit.
That wasn't the advice, but that'll work. Here's what we're doing. The PTA NFC team that we're going to be rooting for is the Washington Commanders. All right, listen, your vote might not have won, but get on board, okay? Get on board. That's why we vote. Get behind the cause, all right? So
you got some out there like,
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
All right, what we're going to do tomorrow is we'll do a poll question for the AFC team.
Larry.
Hey, Emilio, you got something to share?
Larry Cannell said, can't have commies win anything.
Damn.
That is the truth.
If there's anyone that can veto this vote, it's Mr. Larry. All right,
Right.
I'll just say that. So,
I love it.
all right, that's it. The show sucks. You guys know it.
For
That's
sure.
why some of you already left. But appreciate you, Emilio, Tim. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
Tim, I guess
Thank
I'll see you in the morning.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll be back in the morning. Good morning, Lambeau, at 8:30 Central Time to get your day kicked off. We'll talk some more Packers. Appreciate everybody.
One more super chat before we go. Chris N, $2. Adrian Cooper needs to reopen Club 56.
Oh, I remember Club 56. Nick Barnett started that, right?
Yes.
He was actually a DJ on the side too. Did y'all know that? He
Nick
DJ'd
Barnett?
my cousin. He DJ'd my cousin's bar mitzvah. I just made that up.
DJ Nikki B.
Anyway, all right. Shout out to everybody with the super chats here. First of all, Greg in Green Bay, new member. Appreciate you, buddy. TC fan with the super chat. Thank you, sir. Travis Stone with the super chat. Thank you. Mike Hebring. Travis again. And then Chris M with the super chat there on Ezra and Cooper, man. Appreciate you guys so much. We'll see you in the morning. Everybody have a great evening. Bye.
And we go.
Bye, guys.